Hi, my name is Ryan Evans. I'm going to be discussing a movie analysis of interpersonal communication over the movie 50 First Dates. Now, obviously, for those of you who have not seen the movie 50 First Dates, I do not want to ruin the movie for you, so I'm only going to give a few clips. For those of you who have, you probably think it's a wonderful movie, and it's a very interesting movie when you think about interpersonal communication because there's a lot of different ways that it's used in this movie differently than it's used in any other movies. Obviously, the title is very appropriate for the movie. There's a reason it's called 50 First Dates. So before we go any further, the two concepts that I'm going to use are number one is the initiation step, and that is the first set of interactions made between people. And we see this quite often in this movie, and I'll discuss scenes where we see that a lot. The next one is breadth, which is the range of topics discussed. And this is another one that had intrigued me about this movie. I've seen this movie, quite a few times, so for me to watch it again, it was really just kind of jogging the memory again of everything that's going to happen. So when we think about initiation step, as I said, it's basically the first set of interactions made between people. So when we think about that, it's basically coming up to someone possibly you don't know, and it could be anything, just like we see in the very first scene when he sees Adam Sandler. When Adam Sandler sees the blonde sitting down at the table, he goes over to her, makes a comment. He's initiating that step. He's getting his foot in the door to be able to talk to her, to be able to find out more about her, and obviously do whatever they want to do. Now, obviously, the point in this movie was for him. He saw that he had interest in her. He wanted to take that initiation step to get towards her, to talk to her, to see what more about her. So the reason I say that this happens a lot is because, like I said, the title 50 First Dates, if you've seen the movie, obviously she has a problem. She was in a wreck, obviously. So there is a lot of initiation steps in this movie. Now, obviously, for Adam Sandler in that movie, he actually had to go through all those steps, the initiation step, the experimental step, the investigating, the integration, and the bonding step. He actually had to do that within one day. Like I said, if you've seen the movie, you understand what I'm talking about, but he had to do all those steps in one day. So the initiation step was the most important for him because she did not remember who he was after one day. So there were certain clips, you see them, like I said, the very first one, when he first sees her, he goes up, they have a good time, they bond. But then the next time, he assumes, because he doesn't know of her problem, that she is going to recognize him, and she ends up not, and then the whole thing gets haywire, and it just goes out of complete control. So once he finally realizes what's wrong with her, he switches up his routine a little bit. He kind of does some, a little out of the ordinary, strange things, like you see in the movie on clips when he'll be on the side of the road doing some crazy things, and there's even one clip when he tries to tie himself up, or he acts like he's getting beat up by one of his friends. Those are all kind of initiating steps for him. He's trying to get her attention because he knows she takes that road a lot to go home. So those are all initiating steps. The one thing I did like about it is the fact, like I said, he had to use all of those steps in one day to try and build that relationship with her, and he kept doing it over and over and over and over. So when you think about it, it's great. It's fantastic willpower on his part to just keep constantly trying to do the same thing over and over with different routines to get her attention. And there was that one scene, obviously, when he was getting beat up fake by his friend, that turned a little haywire, and she ended up grabbing the baseball bat and beating him up. I really didn't like that. I thought that was a bad initiating step on his part. Obviously, I understand it's a movie, it's supposed to be funny, but I really didn't think that was part of it. To be honest, once they first started talking, the first time he's seen her at the diner, I really thought it was going to get into more romantic comedy, but obviously something with Adam Sandler, they had to throw something funny in there. So I really didn't like that part, but once again, it is an initiating step. So the second concept is the breadth concept, which is the range of topics discussed. This one I really, really like. This concept was my favorite when doing this speech, because the range of topics discussed were in my opinion, from watching the movie and seeing it so many times, we're just so slim. As I said, with her condition, she can only she can only process everything and remember something for one day, unless it was before the accident. So, and we see that in almost every clip where they're together, and every time they kiss, she says nothing beats a first kiss, and that she says that every time that they kiss. So that just shows you, obviously she has the disease, but that just shows you that no matter how many times they kiss, or what day it is, if it's a week from the first time they kissed, or if it's a month from the first time that she kissed, she's going to repeat that same thing, because she can't remember anything after the accident. She can only remember stuff before the accident. So they kind of had to talk about the same stuff over and over. So when you think about it, his initiating steps, a lot of times that's his foot in the door, and that's going to make the biggest impact. So a lot of times that's what they're going to talk about. Now obviously in the movie they do talk a lot about a few things, but for the most part it was kind of slim. She always wanted to know about the accident. That was really the main thing that stuck out in my mind. They had to basically tell her every morning what happened to her. Why is she like this? And for Adam Sandler to do that, this is a little off topic, but it's just great willpower, like I said. So the breath was, just very slim. But overall, I thought the movie was fantastic. I think these are two concepts that really stuck out to me. Like I said, the initiation step, because he had to do that every time he met her, because for her, he was a totally different guy every day that she had no idea of. He was a complete stranger. And of course the breath, like I said, that was my favorite, just the range of topics discussed, just because she can't remember anything. So every time he made an initiating step as a complete stranger to her every day, the range of topics discussed were the same thing, because obviously he was using different ways of initiation step, so they kind of had to talk about the same thing over and over. So overall, the movie 50 First Dates, a very, very fantastic movie, and the interpersonal communication was fantastic in it. Obviously it was a romantic comedy, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you understand a little bit more about a few concepts of interpersonal communication, and thank you very much for your time.